Operation alienda wapi tuliambiwa tutapatiwa alafu tuokoe. Shida ni nini?
A few kilometers away at Rantia Farm, a farmhand was shot dead by another group of armed raiders. In another incident, a class 8 pupil at Mirango Primary School sustained gunshot wounds on the leg when a known number of armed bandits raided their home at Mirango village and sprayed their house with bullets.
Walikuwa na G3, walikuwa na AK-47
na wakaweza kumiminia zaidi ya marisasi 52 na boma hii haina kuku, haina buzi, haina ng'ombe, wala punda, haina. Lengo lao ni nini?
The victim is currently admitted at Sipili Nursing Home in stable condition. Following the attacks in Laikipia County, a section of leaders decried the rising insecurity.
Na tutakuwa tunazungushana hapa na security agencies ambaye wanatuzungusha, we give information ambaye haifanyiwi kazi, alafu asubuhi watu wakiuawa wanakuja na Land Cruiser kubeba maiti.
Askari walifungiwa yote kwa nyumba. Hawa wamekaba watu 50 akikuja kwa askari 5 ama 10. Hii askari kweli tutalaumu?
Mimi sina ng'ombe, sina mzee aliuliwa, sina kuku, sina nini. Tutafanya ni serikali. Mkuje tuokoe tafadhali.
The leaders also faulted the government for the withdrawal of the National Police Reservists. However, according to Natembeya, plans to redeploy the police reservists to help in reinforcing the work being done by various security units are underway.
Lakini kusema kwamba kutakuwa na raia mwingine na bunduki ndiye ana dictate kama kutakuwa na amani ama kutakuwa na amani olomrani inakwisha leo.
He at the same time denied claims the government was behind the abduction of 2 wanted criminals from Pokot community by unknown people on Tuesday last week at Olmoran area. Ben Chumba, Legends Edition.
A cross-section of members of parliament from Mount Kenya region have backed Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential bid. The MPs drawn from 11 counties in the region noted that they were united under the United Democratic Alliance UDA, an outfit they said has a national outlook and is people-centered.
After a 6-hour closed-door meeting at a resort in Laikipia County, a section of members of parliament from Mount Kenya emerged with one resolution to rally behind Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential bid.
At the sad developments around political parties and their disintegration, we have opted that as we go into the next general election, we will be supporting His Excellency William Ruto through the United Democratic Alliance Party, UDA.
The leaders claimed their choice was based on Ruto's development track record, service delivery, and his determination to the empowerment of the ordinary Kenyans.
Since engaged experts at different levels, and we have come up with an economic blueprint upon which we want to prosecute our political engagement with our candidate of choice going into the next general election.
The MP said they had in the last 1 year engaged their constituents and had come to the conclusion that the country's political discourse should be on the economy.
We shall in the coming week release a calendar of this Hasra Nation engagements with the people. This engagement will culminate in the signing of a national hustlers economic charter.
They further argued that leaders from Mount Kenya had resolved to canvass the agenda of the people on the platform of UDA.
We have consciously and deliberately decided to be the generation of Mount Kenya leaders that changed the political foundation of Kenya, breaking free from the servitude of personality cults, ethnic mobilization, and replacing it with national political organization anchored on people-centric issues.
We have resolved that the economic blueprint developed with the help of experts shall now be subjected to a thorough interrogation in strategic sectoral meetings in villages, shopping centers, markets, barazas, town estates, amongst others.
The meeting came hot on the heels of damning revelations on Deputy President William Ruto's privacy by Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i on Wednesday.
Presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi has cautioned ODM party leadership over claims that the party could move out of democratic ideals in arriving at the presidential flag bearer for next year's general election. Wanjigi has meanwhile threatened to ditch the party if it will not follow its constitution when electing its flag bearer.
The President also made it very clear to us that under no circumstances is he trying to push us or to intimidate us in any way to support any particular candidate.
Speaking at various gatherings in Western Kenya region, the ANC leader cautioned those who intend to interfere with the election, saying IEBC boss Wafula Chebukati must be allowed to fulfill his mandate in the polls.
Na mimi nawasihi chairman wetu Chebukati, and we are warning that they should not interfere with the electoral body at this time. Chebukati must fulfill his mandate.
Mujue ya kwamba sisi tumeungana.
Naomba Mheshimiwa Musalia, msisalie nyuma sana, huenda tukachelewa tukaachwa nje ya serikali. Ninyi mtupe direction.
Na hatutapata kile tunatafuta kama hamchukui vipande na kuchukua kadi za kura.
Elsewhere, presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi has cautioned ODM party leadership over claims that the party could move out of the democratic ideals in arriving at the presidential flag bearer for the next year's general election. Wanjigi has meanwhile threatened to ditch the party if it will not follow its constitution when electing its flag bearer. Speaking at St. Peter's ACK Cathedral Church in Chicago, Mbeere North, when laying the foundation stone for the construction of green-blue apartments for ACK women in Mbeere Diocese, Wanjigi said he was conversant with the criteria and methods that can be used by the party to pick the presidential flag bearer.
The time for change is now. Stand up. And I'm asking my ODM members and flock, especially delegates, that this is a time to also change the party, to show the world and especially Kenyans that this is a democratic party. Ati wanajifungia kwa room wachague kiongozi. Hapana. Hapana. Let the people decide.
He said there must be transparency in the party leadership so that every member feels represented.
The party's constitution ni lazima ifuatwe. Kama haifuatwi, hiyo chama ni ya nini basi?
Elsewhere, leaders from Ukambani have pledged to rally behind Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency come the year 2022. Led by National Assembly Deputy Chief Whip Robert Mbui, the leaders called on Kenyans to support One Kenya Alliance, noting that Kalonzo was the best suited for the presidency, saying he would unite Kenyans and revive the economy.
Yule kiongozi anaweza kutuunganisha, yule kiongozi ni mcha Mungu, yule kiongozi ambaye ana wizi, juzi amekuwa clear na DCI, ni mmoja tu, His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
I have direct instructions from my boss, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Ameniambia Recho fanya kazi na Kalonzo. Uongozi uko hapo kwa Kalonzo.
Kwa hivyo na wasi tusimame na Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka kwa wakati huu, kwa sababu wakati umefika wa kuchagua kiongozi wa nchi yetu.
They were speaking during the funeral service of the late Pastor Ernest Nzambia, father to Kilome MP Tandas Nzabia. For Legends Edition, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Wiper Democratic Movement leader Kalonzo Musyoka on Saturday held talks with Federal Republic of Nigeria Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo in Arusha, Tanzania, and the two leaders discussed bilateral, regional and continental issues. Kalonzo serves as Kenya's special envoy to South Sudan and previously worked for the formation of the coalition government of the Democratic Republic of Congo after their last elections. The meetings are seen as part of his wide strategy and efforts to build political networks across the globe. More Kenyans residing in counties with mobile populations are set to be immunized following the arrival on Friday night of the first batch of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine doses. The Ministry of Health says it will prioritize distribution of the one-shot vaccine to regions where uptake so far has been low. This as the government continues discussions with Absent, the South Africa-based manufacturers of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, for technical collaboration in producing the doses locally.
A Lufthansa cargo plane carrying the consignment with 141,600 doses of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on Friday evening. The Health Ministry Chief Administrative Secretary Mercy Mwangangi, who received the shipment, urged Kenyans to come out in large numbers to get vaccinated.
No vaccine is superior compared to another. All the vaccines that we have in the country now, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson, have the ability to prevent you from ending up in an ICU bed. So come forward and receive your vaccine.
She added that the arrival will boost the ongoing vaccination drive that targets 10 million adult Kenyans by the end of the year.
We do intend to increase our vaccination posts to 3,000. But beyond having those vaccination posts, we are looking at having what we are calling a hybrid approach. You have some teams going out for outreach, targeted outreach services, but you also have your static vaccination posts.
At least 240,000 more doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines are expected to arrive in the country next week. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is the third in Kenya's vaccination program, with AstraZeneca and Moderna vaccines already being administered. The country also received a donation of 55,000 AstraZeneca vaccines from the Republic of Latvia on Saturday. John Kabuchi, chair of the Procurement and Logistics Committee, lauded the move, saying the donation will help in meeting the demands for vaccines.
We are pleased to receive today consignment of 55,000 vaccines from Latvia, being a donation directly to the government of Kenya. So we want to appreciate the support that we have received from the people of Latvia.
The country has recorded 840 COVID-19 positive cases in the last 24 hours, from a sample size of 9,065. The positivity rate now stands at 10.3%. From the cases, 812 are Kenyans, while 28 are foreigners. According to the Ministry of Health, the total confirmed cases are now 239,692. Meanwhile, the country recorded 21 fatalities, all of them being late deaths reported after conducting facility record audits in the months of August and September. This now pushes the death toll to 4,778. Globally, 219.9 million positive cases have been reported and over 4.55 million deaths. The 4 Kenyan fishermen who had been detained in Tanzania for close to 2 months have finally been released on 75,000 shillings cash bail. The 4 from Kibro Beach in Muhuru Bay were arrested on the 25th of June while on a fishing expedition in Lake Victoria and whisked away to Tanzania.
Eric Mosoni, Samuel Isaiah, Joseph Stephen, and Gordon Owiti are finally back home. The 4 fishermen who looked tired and pale but were happy to be back home were arrested and detained by Tanzanian authorities for 2 months. According to one of the victims, Samuel Isaiah, the 4 had sought clarification from their Tanzanian counterparts, whom they claim to have spoiled their fishing gear when they were arrested and charged with robbery in Tarime and remanded for 6 months.
Sasa kesi yenye tulikamatwa nayo hawakutupea, waliandika kesi ya kuiba samaki, kufahamia na silaha. Waliandika sisi tuliingia na panga tukafahamia wenzao wa Tanzania tukawanyang'anya samaki, na sisi hicho kitendo hatukufanya.
Kibro Beach chairman Joel Maulid said lack of patrol boats within Migori County have escalated cases of insecurities in the lake.
Boti iko pale lakini injini hakuna. So ni kama doria yao hawezi fanya doria wa kila siku. Wakienda mara moja baada ya 2 weeks ndio wanafanya doria tena majini. So tunaomba serikali wawape patrol boat yetu, wawe na mafuta ya kutosha, wafanye doria ziwani kamilifu.
Muhuru Bay Ward Representative Hezron Mahira, through a petition to the East African Legislative Assembly, wants all the fishing barriers on Lake Victoria reviewed to reduce such eventualities.
Ndio nimeandika na hii petition nafikiri karibuni imeshakuwa signed na watu 34. Tunataka tufanye biashara katika hii area kwa urahisi na kwa upendo.
And now, before we take a short break, just to remind you, stay tuned for our guest on our Living Legends segment, Tobias Juakali Ochola, a man with a prolific football career spanning over a decade representing Gor Mahia and Harambee Stars. Stay with us.
Kupata baba anakuja kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811*967#.
Ndio napiga. Ndio napiga. Mimi sijapotea. Niko tu hapa. Mimi niko hapa kwa mimi niko nakuja. Don't mind. Wacha hata usikate simu yako. Mimi ndio hii nimefika, hata angalia.
Kupata baba anakuja kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811*967#. *811*967#.
Abdalla, mbona uko hivyo leo?
Nikoje?
Yaani kama umvurugwa kabisa.
Hayo yote tuko nayo. Sisi tunamtizama tu sahi. Lakini chake ajue chake kimotoni.
Hiyo shauri yenu bwana. Kama mtamweka ndani mtafanya nini, shauri zenu.
Wakifanya chochote kile, nijulishe mimi kwanza.
Haya wewe nani? Huyu ndo shemeki tena ama vipi jamani?
Wewe naye pia umbe. Paka kilemba kitoke.
Welcome back. A middle-aged widower in Madogo, Tana River County is appealing for assistance from well-wishers to help him raise 1.2 million shillings and foot the hospital bill of his late wife, who died from COVID-19 complications shortly after giving birth. Maulid Osman says doctors at Aga Khan Hospital in Mombasa were forced to conduct a cesarean section on his wife to save the child after she developed serious complications from the disease. Purity Museo reports.
Never is a man more of a man than when he is a father of a newborn. So goes a popular quote by an American actor, Matthew McConaughey. But Maulid Osman from Mombasa is slowly losing this fatherhood feeling.
Mimi nimefiliwa na bibi kule Kilifi, alifariki na ugonjwa wa corona, COVID-19. Na kwa sasa kuna bill na daiwa na sina mtu wa kunisaidia sababu mimi na bibi yangu sote ni yatima.
Osman says things have not been easy since his wife died from COVID-19 complications shortly after giving birth to their third child. The baby, who was born at 6 months, is still at the Aga Khan Hospital in Mombasa, and the bill has accumulated to 1.2 million shillings.
Bili ya bibi ilikuwa ni 1750, ndio nimelipa kufaulu kuenda kumstiri mwenzangu. Na hivi saa hii tunaongea, kuna mtoto wangu yuko Aga Khan Hospital kwa incubator.
Osman is appealing to well-wishers to come to his rescue.
Kwa hivyo naomba popote mko wa Kenya, serikali inisaidie tafadhali.
To help the family, you can send your contributions through M-Pesa number 0717405731.
COVID-19 deaths are a very sad reality. Let's just reach out and go all the way and help Molid Osman. Hope we all do that. As we continue, the National Assembly's Committee on Agriculture has summoned Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya to explain why the Coffee Cherry Fund has not been dispersed to farmers. This, as the farmers in Kirinyaga County say they want to have a big say at the Coffee Board of Kenya, CBK, under the proposed Coffee Bill 2021.
The committee, chaired by the Muiben Member of Parliament Silas Tren, say that it will be unfair to have non-growers as the representatives at the board, since they could not understand the sector. Farmers want an 80% representation at the Coffee Board of Kenya.
Hatutaki ile maneno pesa inakulwa na wachache alafu mzigo inapelekwa wakulima, nasema hiyo ni cooperative kama society ya wakulima, pesa imekulwa walipe. Tunataka pia Cooperatives Act tuweke sheria ya kuzuia kukulwa pesa ya mkulima.
Speaking separately at Kipkelion Coffee Mill in Kericho County during a public participation exercise on the Coffee Bill 2021, Agriculture Committee Vice Chair Kate Waruguru revealed that they have summoned the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya to Parliament on the delayed coffee cherry funds to farmers.
And we want to say as a committee we'll be committed on this. Tutaita CS Munya kuja ajibu maswali, atuambie kila mkulima wa kahawa na kila cooperative wamesaidika kwa njia gani kupitia kwa pesa ya Coffee Cherry Fund. And lastly, we want to ask our farmers to kuwe very keen. Iko watu wanauza begu na fertilizers badia. Najua hiyo ni kazi yetu.
Elsewhere, residents of Kiamodhige village of Githinja in Kiaru constituency of Murang'a County have decried the poor state of development in the area, citing infrastructure such as roads and availability of clean water.
From 1960, tujawahi kuwa na barabara hapa. Tumekuwa tukipitia kwa mashida mengi. Wakati tuko na mgonjwa ama kuko na mazishi, watu huwa wanabeba jeneza na mikono na wanaenda kama kilomita moja.
Meanwhile, the ongoing construction of the 10,000 capacity Wanguru Stadium in Kirinyaga County is set to be handed over to the government by next month. Speaking after inspecting the progress of the construction works of the facility, which is the venue of this year's MASHUJAA Day, Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho said only 3,000 people will be invited to attend the feat due to the COVID-19 challenges.
As has been the tradition for the last many years, where His Excellency the President decided to devolve the celebrations other than Jamhuri Day to the counties. The reason for doing that is so that as many as possible counties get flavor of what happens in national celebrations.
Finally, the government has intensified a mop-up campaign for students yet to join Form 1 within Bahati sub-county of Nakuru County, in line with the 100% policy.
We are doing very well as a sub-county because so far we have been able to identify.
We'll now take a quick break, and thereafter we'll go to our Living Legends segment with our guest, the football legend Tobias Achola. Stay with us.
You see, people think career is purpose.
Yes.
Career is not purpose. Purpose is anything you do with God. Purpose begins when you find Jesus.
Yes.
You remember the big phone with the big aerial?
Yeah.
And he manifested the phone.
Yes.
So you find that is education.
Fulfilled.
Yeah, he's fulfilled. He's satisfied. So I told him, do this. Quit the job. So purpose, as it makes you have passion. You want to wake up. You are excited.
Yes.
You're excited to even sometimes you don't sleep thinking about it.
Yes.
The excitement of the Olympic Games doesn't just stop there, as the biggest para-sports event, the 2020 Paralympic Games, gets underway from the 24th of August to the 5th of September in Tokyo, Japan. So, get ready to be inspired by these sportsmen and women with outstanding abilities, and look out for Team Kenya too in their quest for glory by watching all the highlights daily on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Am I dead? Drink. My eyes tell me I must be.
Why, what do they say?
Her face. Too beautiful to leave this world.
Where have you been? I sent you for water hours ago. Father, a man at the well, he said that he was looking for this camp.
I am Jacob, son of Isaac and your sister Rebecca.
Talking about industrial engineering method.
This week on Tech on Tech.
Today we feature a young, brilliant, innovative mind, the CEO of MDarasa.
MDarasa is an e-learning platform.
We are looking into matters, technology and education.
We bring you tech news from all over the world, outstanding tech features, amazing innovations and inventions. Join us this Sunday and every other Sunday at 4:20 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Abdalla, mbona uko hivyo leo?
Nikoje?
Yaani kama mvurugwa kabisa.
Hayo yote tuko nayo. Sisi tunamtizama tu sahi. Lakini chake ajue chake kimotoni.
Hiyo shauri yenu bwana. Kama mtamweka ndani mtafanya nini, shauri zenu.
Wakifanya chochote kile, nijulishe mimi kwanza.
Haya wewe nani? Huyu ndo shemeji tena ama vipi jamani?
Wewe naye pia umbe. Paka kilemba kitoke.
Welcome back. We'll go to the Living Legends segment in a short while, but first, a quick look at sports with the man himself, Topiliambila.
Thank you very much, Fayaz. And this is Topiliambila on the sports segment of the Legends edition this Saturday evening. And as usual in the highlights tonight, we have got the Kenya national volleyball teams preparing for the continental competition. Two teams, actually, the basketball and the volleyball, are all preparing for the continental competition. While on the international scene, Kenya sprint sensation Ferdinand Omanyala makes his debut in the Brussels Van Damme Memorial. Now, national men's volleyball team, which is set to leave the country tomorrow for Rwanda, held its last training session at the Nyayo National Stadium in preparation for the African Nations Championships. That will be held in Kigali, Rwanda from 5th to the 15th of this month. Meanwhile, the women's team Malkia Stars intensified its training session ahead of the women's tournament.
Malkia strikers under the tutelage of Paul Bitok will be going for the African Nations Championship title in this year's edition that is set to commence on 10th this month in Rwanda. The team intensified its training at Nyayo National Stadium.
The only thing which I would ask the federation to do is to have the youth and junior program so that we can participate in the youth African Championship, we participate in the World Championship, so that we don't have this problem of transition when it comes now bringing the young ones coming to the national team. As you can see now, as much as we have them, they didn't go through other competition.
You have to take one game at a time, because you don't know how Senegal are training, the way Rwandans are training. So we have to take one game at a time. You cannot focus to Cameroon only.
Malkia lastly won the African title in 2015. Meanwhile, the men's volleyball team is set to leave the country tomorrow after holding its last training session.
Maybe the next 4 or 5 years, we should be able to produce a team that can become African champions. But for me, for this team, I want them to go there, get the experience, play some good matches. I know we're going to win some matches, and if possible, maybe let us target semi-finals.
Our team going outside there is posting good results. So this gives us also a challenge and a great motivation that we can do it also.
Kenyan men last participated in the biennial tourney in 2017, where they finished 9th in the event that had attracted 14 nations in Cairo, Egypt. Frederick Mwoki for Legends Edition.
And on the basketball scene, the national women basketball team Kenya Lionesses stepped up their training in preparation for the upcoming Women's AFROBASKET Championship that will be hosted in Yaoundé, Cameroon, starting the 17th of this month. The team will leave the country on the 14th of this month and headed for Cameroon, Yaoundé.
Kenya Lionesses is currently ranked 9th based in Africa and 71st based in the World FIBA ranking. The team has stepped up its preparations for the 25th edition of AFROBASKET Championship. The last time the team featured in the championship was in 2019 in Dakar, Senegal.
Preparation has been good. The team is in very high spirits. We are bonding as a team. We are training well. We are pushing each other. The ministry is supporting us really well. We are at a good hotel. We really appreciate and tunatia bidii.
Our quarters have been the third and the fourth quarters that we've been playing badly, but we are working on that so that we keep the tempo of the game from the first quarter to the last quarter, so that we don't get those itchy things at the third and fourth quarters.
The team qualified for this year's edition after topping in the Zone 5 qualifiers in Kigali, Rwanda, ahead of Egypt, Rwanda, and debutant South Africa. This year's AFROBASKET Women will be the 25th edition and will be held in Yaoundé, Cameroon, starting 17th to 26th of this month. The national team Kenya Lionesses, which will be seeking to show a splendid performance, is set to travel on 14th of this month. Reporting for Legends Edition from Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Best of luck to the Malkia Stars. Now on Sestoball, the Sestoball Association of Kenya has begun the selection process for the national team that will represent the country in the Sestoball World Cup qualifiers to be held in Argentina in the month of December this year. The selected Kenya national team will comprise of 16 players.
Kenya will be represented by 2 teams of 8 players each at the Sestoball World Cup qualifiers to be held in Argentina in December this year, with the selection process already underway. The first round of selection began today at Technical University of Mombasa, with the final round expected to be done in October in Nairobi. The players selected in the first round will take part in a national tournament to be held in Kakamega before the final round of selection is done next month.
In November, at least we will have some few players and technical team going to Argentina. But again, it's all about the well-wishers, the government. We're going back to the government and ask them please to give us a hand. As we've already started, so we are not going to just ask for some money. At least they will see this, that we've gone an extra mile.
Kenya will be the only African team to compete at the World Cup qualifiers in Argentina after Zimbabwe withdrew due to COVID-19 challenges in the nation.
We've started with senior men as we are moving to under 17, that is secondary, then under 14, under 12, under 10 primary.
More than 200 countries are expected to take part in the qualifiers in Argentina as they all seek a ticket to the World Cup, which will be held mid-next year in Thailand. Cestoball is a new game whose origin is in Argentina, with Kenya being the first country in Africa to introduce the game, which borrows rules from netball, handball and basketball.
Hapa kwetu but kule nje imekuwa ni game ambayo imeanza kwa muda ambayo imekuwa mrefu kidogo. So hapa kwetu tumekuwa tukifuatilia katika YouTube. Pia tumekuwa na wakubwa wetu ambao wamekuwa kutufunza rules ambayo rules ilikuwa mpya.
From Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Interesting. We had handball, we had softball, now we have cestoball. The list continues to increase. Of course, the more the merrier in the sporting world. Now, on the local scene, Kenya Hockey Union has held its first phase of trials to select a squad that will represent Kenya in the Hockey Africa Cup of Nations set for next year, 2022 in Accra, Ghana. The continental event will be held from 24th to the 24th to the 30th of January 2022.
The 2022 Men's Hockey Africa Cup of Nations will be the 11th edition of the Men's Hockey Africa Cup of Nations, the quadrennial international men's field hockey championship of Africa organized by the African Hockey Federation. In February 2021, it was announced that the tournament will be held alongside the women's tournament at the Theodosia Oko Hockey Stadium in Accra. Kenya Hockey Union has held its first phase of national trials.
The team is made up of 16 players. But during our non-residential camp, we will have about 30. We'll have about 30 men and 30 women. And then once we go to our residential camp, we'll again shrink the squad down to now about 20 apiece.
Meanwhile, Wazalendo Hockey Club held its second lottery draw that is geared towards raising funds to facilitate the team's preparation for the Africa Club Championship.
So far, we are still struggling to raise the money. We are barely into raising the enough money because it is air tickets for players, accommodation, the kits and everything. So we are still appealing to members out there to come and assist us.
The championships will be hosted in Ghana starting 1st to 8th of December this year.
All looking forward, of course, to the revival of the glory days of Kenya hockey. Now, from handball, Doris Odendo netted 8 goals as KU women team beat Rangers 29-24 in a Kenya Handball League match that was played at the Nyayo Stadium today. Meanwhile, the Rangers men beat Gunners 29-25. Let's take a look.
Doris Odendo was in top form for Rangers women as she netted 8 goals in their match against KU. Claire Wanyonyi netted 5 while Celine Waluke, Catherine Cherotich and Winnie Cherop each scored 4 goals. Meanwhile, Rangers men's team showed a splendid performance as they beat Gunners 29-25. Joseph Wafula was the top scorer in the match, scoring 6 for the Rangers while Wekesa netted 5 goals.
It was a good challenge to us. If you see Gunners is upcoming team. Most of us ni wale wachezaji wanajifunza mchezo, lakini ukiangalia against hao watu ni wenye wanajua nini wanafanya.
Meanwhile, the handball stakeholders have called upon well-wishers and government to come on board and sponsor the teams that are financially struggling in the Kenyan top tier league.
So wish that sponsors have to come in and help this federation, because for the last the season we've played since 2016 as Rangers from Western, the tokens we are given are small. So we wish that if we can get sponsors, even the insurance companies.
Hassan Ali Hussein for Legends Edition Sports.
With that action from the Nyayo Stadium, now we move over to the international scene, where Kenya's current 100-meter national record holder and sprint sensation Ferdinand Omanyala finished fourth at his Diamond League debut at the Van Damme Memorial in Brussels last night. Omanyala clocked 10.02 seconds, while in the 1500 meters, Abel Kipsang and Charles Simotuo finished fourth and fifth respectively.
And still the pack is there as Katia maybe went too early. 800, the time to 800 was 56, the third lap 57.9, and Katia has misjudged this one. And McSwain, who as always has tried to make it a test of strength, gets stronger as the line approaches. Hoare in second, good running back in third place there. Was that Philip Ingebrigtsen in the green? No, it was Rosmis. What a run from Rosmis. Wow. Good start there from Brummel, very quick out of the blocks, third from right. Also going well is Mike Norman, third from left, second to left, and Norman leading the moment. Brummel's going backwards and it's very tight in the middle there. Curley taking it. Curley coming through over the last 30 metres or so, I think. It was really tight. Curley gets it. 9.94.
And with that, jinx from the international scene, we wrap up today's sports segment of the Legends edition this Saturday evening. We take a short break, and when we come back, we shall have Fayaz Qureshi in the studio with another of those living legends, Tobias Ochola, known as Jua Kali. In those days, he played for Gor Mahia and Harambee Stars. So, thank you for being with us tonight, but stay tuned.
The excitement of the Olympic Games doesn't just stop there, as the biggest para-sports event, the 2020 Paralympic Games, gets underway from the 24th of August to the 5th of September in Tokyo, Japan. So, get ready to be inspired by these sportsmen and women with outstanding abilities, and look out for Team Kenya too in their quest for glory by watching all the highlights daily on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
You see, people think career is purpose.
Yes.
Career is not purpose. Purpose is anything you do with God. Purpose begins when you find Jesus.
Yes.
You remember the big phone with the big aerial?
Yeah.
And he manifested the phone.
Yes.
So you find that is education.
Fulfilled.
Yeah, he's fulfilled.
Yeah.
He's satisfied. So I told him, do this. Quit the job. So purpose, as it makes you a passion. You want to wake up, you are excited.
Yes.
You're excited to, even sometimes you don't sleep thinking about it.
Yes.
Number one method, we'll always be talking about industrial engineering method.
This week on Tech on Tech.
Today we feature a young, brilliant, innovative mind, the CEO of MDarasa.
MDarasa is an e-learning platform.
We are looking into matters, technology and education.
We bring you tech news from all over the world, outstanding tech features, amazing innovations and inventions. Join us this Sunday and every other Sunday at 4:20 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Abdalla, mbona kwa hivyo leo?
Nikoje?
Yaani kama mvurugwa kabisa.
Hayo yote tuko nayo. Sisi tunamtizama tu sai. Lakini chake ajue chake kimotoni.
Hiyo shauri yenu bwana. Kama mtamweka ndani mtafanya nini shauri zenu?
Wakifanya chochote kile, nijulishe mimi kwanza.
Haya wewe nani? Huyu ndo shemeji tena ama vipi jamani? Wewe naye pia ombe.
Mpaka kilemba kitoke.
Welcome back. On the Living Legends tonight, we speak to a man who hung his boots 25 years ago, quit his job, went back to school, and is now about to get his PhD in business management. His trademark was a throw-in that was not different from a corner kick. Our Living Legend tonight is the only Kenyan to have played at 3 consecutive Africa Cup of Nations finals, Tobias Juakali Achola. Welcome, Tobias. It's an extreme pleasure to have you here with us tonight. A prolific footballing career spanning over a decade with Gor Mahia and Harambee Stars. So let's hear it in your words how it all started.
Thank you, Fayaz, for having me here in the studio today. And I believe all will discuss and we'll get to know more about me. And then whatever that has happened before, we'll try and go through them and see where we stand.
Brilliant. So let's see how it all started. Your footballing career, how it all fell into place.
My footballing career started while I was in primary school. That was in standard 6. Then I played through primary, then I joined secondary. That was 1979.
Okay.
I played from the onset. When I joined Form 1, I was in the school team until I finished my O-levels in 1982.
So football was real passion for you?
It was part of my life. Yes, because away from class, I was really enjoying myself outside on the pitches.
Fantastic. So thereafter, the progression to how it all happened for Gor Mahia, or before that you were with a club called Kisumu Hot Stars, right?
Kisumu Hot Stars.
Yes.
So my secondary school was at Wangapala Secondary School, that is currently Homa Bay County. Then I joined Hot Stars when I was just about to leave. That was 1981.
Okay.
I started by playing for Kisumu. There was a team in Kisumu. It was a young team. Then I graduated into Hot Stars because that was the biggest team in Kisumu then. That was 1982. And Hot Stars was the nursery for Gor Mahia. So the good players in deeper part of Nyanza were must play for Hot Stars for you to move to Gor Mahia.
Oh, so that was a stepping stone.
It was a stepping stone to Gor Mahia. There were 2 teams. There was Black Stars. When you were playing for Black Stars, that was a nursery school for Reunion, if you can remember Reunion team. That happens also to Leopards. You go to Kakamega, there was MOW. In MOW, it was both Gor Mahia and Leopards.
I see.
So that's how the two teams were getting good players from the other side of the country, Nyanza and Western.
Right.
Yes.
When you joined Gor Mahia, an incident took place. You were warming the bench, obviously early days.
Yes.
And after that incident, it just happened for you, and no more warming of the bench.
You know, when you are in a place, you need to have a focus. So my focus was to play, not to warm the bench.
Right.
And the people I found in Gor Mahia, those positions were filled up. Because see, if I can name the players who are playing in that defense, you can't imagine. Because fullback 2 was George Solomon Otieno, fullback 3 was Peter Basanga, 4 was Austin Oduor, the captain. Then there was Isaiah Omondi, then it was Jeff Midau, Bobby was still there.
These are all big names.
So those were big names in the national team. There was no space.
No space to enter.
So that's why we were to start by warming up the bench and looking at opportunities that will arise. And it happened that one day when we were playing against a combined army team from Egypt, they were on transit to Zimbabwe. Then our coach then was the late Len Julians.
Right.
So he gave instructions, but unfortunately, George Solo did not pick all. So he was told not to go to the left. He went to the left, and the ball was taken. Then there was a mess. Then he was called to come and warm the bench. Then I be seen. So when I went in, God forbid, that was the last time Solo saw the number until I retired.
Until you retired?
Yes. So I could go to fullback 3, fullback 2, but whenever I was fit, which
you were there to stay.
In fact, I played 99% of Gor Mahia games.
Wow, that's
99%, because I can remember I only missed 2 games. When I got hurt, we were playing Leopards. Then I fell awkwardly at City Stadium. Then there was another one, we clashed with Dow. I don't know what happened at Nyayo. I was given 8 stitches. So, but that is football for you.
Well, that's commendable.
Yes.
Your dedication, your passion for the game was absolutely commendable. And moving on now, the transition, obviously, from Gor Mahia, you continued to play for Gor Mahia, but started representing the national team from 1987, Harambee Stars.
Yes.
How did that feel when you were first called up?
It was like a dream come true, because as a player, your wish is to put on that Kenyan flag.
Of course.
Or the country flag.
Yeah.
So
it's a matter of great pride and honor, isn't it?
Yes. Even if you are not paid, but you have that jersey, you feel Kenyan. So those were the motivating
that patriotism,
factors.
that passion for the country, dedication.
Yes. So
must have been amazing. Eh?
So it was amazing, and it was competition for you to be called to the national team. It was competition from the players in Leopards, the players in Tusker, the players in Ulinzi. So those positions have also, there are players who are coming from those other teams I've just mentioned. So it was the coach now to decide who is fitting my philosophy to be called to this national team.
Every child strives to be a footballer or a cricketer or a volleyball player, name it. How important is it to stay focused with your education in terms of your studies? Can you do both?
It is possible. So it is the discipline you have as a person, then you divide the times. If it is time for games, you go for games. If it's time for going to class, you go to class. So you just have to create time for the two, and it will work. It will work. It works.
Welcome back.
called to this national team.
Every child strives to be a footballer or a cricketer or a volleyball player, name it. How important is it to stay focused with your education in terms of your studies? Can you do both?
It is possible. So it is the discipline you have as a person, then you divide the times. If it is time for games, you go for games. If it's time for going to class, you go to class. So you just have to create time for the two, and it will work. It will work. It works.
So you advise our youth to stay focused on their studies,
and that has been my advice to whoever I meet, because like now these guys are in money, Fayaz. So why don't you go back and finish the school if you did not finish because of school fees?
Yes.
Go and do some training if you did not have the fees then, because football is short-lived, athletics is short-lived. At the end of the day, you must have a fallback.
You must have a fallback.
You must have a fallback. That is why you just read in the introductory part that I'm doing my PhD now. Imagine I did not involve myself in sports. I would have finished my PhD long time. But because I was doing sports for, I think, 3 organizations. I was playing for Gor Mahia, was playing for Kenya Railways in Kikoso Games, was playing for the national team. So the time was not so much on my side. But there are bits and pieces I did that made me climb to a level where, when I ended my sporting career, I was now a step away from what I'm doing now.
That's commendable. Absolutely commendable. Now, very interesting. The Nelson Mandela Cup with Gor Mahia in 1987.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
That was the dream year.
It must have been so special.
So special.
What did you feel when it happened?
And Fayaz, let me tell you now, I worked for only 14 days. How many days do we have in a year?
365.
365. Yeah. I was in the office for only 14 days.
14 days.
Yes. Because I was representing my club in Mandela. I was in the national team. I was in Kikoso. So if I leave Gor Mahia camp, I was in the national team camp. If not there, I was in Kikoso camp. So it was all around. And
you were an extremely dedicated professional.
Yes, that one is for a fact.
That's the way I'd like to describe you.
Yes, that is for a fact. And that is how I am up to date.
Yeah. And of course, what's highly, highly commendable is you played in 3 African Cup of Nations finals. That was 1988, 1990, 1992. And that was the only Kenyan to do so. That was an amazing achievement.
I think we are 5. We are 5. There's also Mike Qureshi. We are 5. If I'm not wrong, we are 5.
You've played 3 consecutive African Cup of Nations finals?
3 consecutive, yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yes. And the most interesting bit with Mandela, we picked the trophy unbeaten. We only drew games, right? Yeah, we only drew games, but we did not lose.
No losses.
No losses. We only drew games.
Moving forward from there, what is the future of football in Kenya? Can we be what we were 20, 30 years ago? Why have the standards dipped? In a quick summarization of about 2 minutes, what can you tell me?
The summary is, it's about leadership. Leadership is key in everything. During our days, the people who were leading had the interest in the game, they were focused in the game, and they were beyond reproach in their leadership. What we are having today is not the kind of leadership we need to have for the sport. Because you have to be spot on in what you want the players to do and the fans to do. We are too far away, because if we want our football or whichever sport to grow, we have to market the sport well. And we are not doing it. And we can only use our achievers, those who have achieved in those sports, to market the sport for us. Because look at what is happening in Europe. Messi with Coca-Cola, every other, Ronaldo with every other thing. So people will buy the Coca-Cola here or Bidco products here because it is being advertised with Wanyama. Why do we look for foreigners to come and do this for us? So let us localize our marketing strategy to uplift the standard of football.
So this passion for overseas leagues like the English Premier League, you know, it's like a religion, like a cult here.
Yes.
Is because they've lost interest in the local leagues because
the standard is not there. The standard is not there. Fayaz, if I want to say this, you were asking me about Harambee Stars and Uganda. You are here in Kenya. Did you know Harambee Stars were playing Uganda?
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
It was just on the sidelines. But when we were playing, the reporters, the newspapers, the sports desks in each and every studio will have, they would serialize. The game is coming. It is Kenya versus Uganda.
There'll be a strong
This is a derby, a strong build up to it. It was not there. We were in camp for 4 days. How do you achieve a result you want? It is not possible. So if we want to grow our sport, if we want our teams to perform well, preparation is key. And the leadership must be on top of everything and lead from the front so that you carry people along with you. Don't disintegrate. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere. Because our preparations are ever in shambles. In clubs, in national team, we can't achieve. But those days, if I can tell you, we picked Mandela because the club officials then, we were in camp in Denmark for a whole month, preparing for Mandela games. So when we were coming back, we played against the best teams in Denmark. So when we were coming back, we were just...
There was passion, there was dedication.
Yes.
Monetary aspects weren't important. Things are different. Today, monetary aspects are more important. Passion's being lost. It's all gauged with money.
And that is why, for me, nowadays, or the current crop of players, they need to play so much because they are being remunerated for it. As we were playing for the passion. The federation should wake up and make sure that he or the office rallies the clubs around the federation so that they work as one unit. In fact, the team now, the sport now, which we call football, the clubs are on their own, the federation are on their own, they're only meeting during the games, and that is the end. That should not happen. It should be one house.
I could sit and talk to you for the next 2 hours. It's so interesting speaking to a great legend like you, but we've run out of time. It's been an extreme pleasure. Tobias Juakali Achola. Just before you part, Juakali, quick one. How did that come about?
It was the way I was playing. It was a no-nonsense place, so you could not pass. If you pass, the ball remains.
Thank you very much, Tobias Juakali Achola. It's been an extreme pleasure sitting and chatting with you. And our first shake, COVID days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. That is where we put a cap on our Living Legends segment. Thank you, Tobias Achola, for gracing our studios.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.